started. Welcome, everyone. On today's 30-minute Tech Tools, Jason Hardin will be talking about best practices for recording course videos. Take it away, Jason.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate all of you guys coming to the session. I know some of you guys were also at creating instructional videos students will watch last week's session that Sarah and Embry and Karina put together. And so this is kind of something that will jump off from that. So last week was about kind of coming up with ideas, getting you guys to think about what to do in terms of your planning. So what we would call that in the television business is pre-production. This week is about the actual production of recording those videos, okay? So before we get started, I want to introduce myself. I'm Jason Hardin. I am an instructional designer over at EKU Online. I got my foot in the door at EKU Online as a multimedia producer last year and have a background in teaching broadcasting, media arts, and also in working in television at a couple of different TV stations. One of the quotes or paraphrases that Sarah O'Keefe and I found when we did our lit review was applicable today. It's well-crafted instructional videos contribute to an improved student perception of the instructor and enhance motivation in the online learning environment. And students are pretty savvy these days. They know what looks good. YouTube influencers are getting better and better at producing good content. So it's important for you guys to, know how to use your own video and create your own content as well. And it's not too overwhelming. I'm going to try to give you some basics, starting with just the current technology tools that are out there, from your own laptop and setting up your own home studio to using Fictel's one-button studio. And then once you've figured out where you're going to record it, how to record it. So recording on your own devices, the camera technologies are so much better nowadays if you're even using your webcam, but especially on tablets and smartphones. The audio quality, even the built-in microphones are good, but of course, it's always best to use external mics whenever possible. And then, of course, lighting, you can either use natural light in a room or desk lamps or ring lights, but our camera sensors can handle low light situations, so larger pixel size will help reduce what we call video noise or graininess. So here's some home studio tips. If you're going to be recording from home, and I know a lot of you would rather do that than always have to be on campus to record at One Button Studio, but One Button Studio is awesome. So composition tips. So always try to set up your camera at eye level. You don't want to be looking down on people or up to people, because that creates, in filmmaking business, either dominance or submissive quality. Second, frame your subject with the eyes on the top third of the screen. As you can see here, you can see a little grid. If a lot of times on your phones, you can put a tic-tac-toe grid, and that top third, called the rule of thirds, you want your eyes to be there no matter how tight your shot is. You want to record horizontally. I know a lot of people like to record vertically with their tablet or phone, and I know a lot of students use social media, but most of the time they're accessing your content via computer, so watching it horizontally is better, at least for now. I mean, that could change. Canvas does allow you to allow students to access more items when we do get that LMS on their phone. And then the distance between you and the background. Don't put your camera like right up against the wall. You want to have some depth. You want that background to be kind of out of focus a little bit. And then lighting tips. If you're filming throughout the day, have a window open and let some natural light in. You can also have some indoor lights that help light the background, because if you have too much light on your face, the background's going to get really, really dark. Don't aim into either a bright background or the windows. That'll create a silhouette. And then also light from not directly in front, but more of a 45-degree angle, and that will give depth to your face. And you'll see that on some of these examples coming up. So what not to do. The top image, and these are courtesy of Michael Hessian from the New York Times. Do not aim, as you can see, the top picture, you don't want a silhouette. Unless you're teaching an art class about silhouettes, probably not a good idea. And then as you can see on the bottom pic here, the camera, the light is actually coming from our right, his left side of the face, and it's creating a bit of a shadow on the bottom of his nose. For those that know art, Rembrandt lighting, what it does is creates a bit of a little triangle on the shadow side of your face. So creating a little more depth is just makes your face look more natural. If you're using a lamp, do not aim it directly at your face. You're going to get big hot spots on your face, and then with your camera has auto iris and will shut down other parts of the frame and make the background look really, really dark. So if you have a lamp, bounce it off the opposing wall, and what that does is that's going to soften or diffuse that light. So some more home studio tips. Now we're going to go into audio. Use an external microphone whenever possible, and there are some inexpensive ones out there, and if you get permission to use some funds in your department, I know everybody's probably laughing now, but it's not too expensive to get an external microphone. If you're going to record a lot from home, it's a really good investment. Audio is half of that video production experience, and if it sounds really bad, your students are going to tune out. Find a quiet location. If you have a home office or just like a little corner. Also, carpet it or soft furnishings to reduce echo. If you have hardwood floors, you know, like I do at recording with, you know, an area rug nearby would help. Find like a cozy corner without a lot of clutter. If you put things back there that are readable, your students might be looking at signs in the background and or artwork that are posters that have text in the background instead of you. Props like plants and books, things like that, and then just a neutral color wall is less distracting. If you guys want to take it up to the next level and actually create a real in-home studio, especially if you do a lot of Zoom calls and you're working from home a lot, where you're constantly talking to other people outside of your course, simple Logitech $40 USB microphone. You could go up to 100 with the Blue Yeti. Ring lights are very inexpensive. This is a very small, an entry-level one. Even though it is directly in front, it might create a bit of a flat face. They are very flattering compared to a lot of lights that you put like directly on the camera or webcam. And then if you like to record out in the field, if you're doing like some sort of virtual field trips at museums, things like that, the small rig that you can get, that's an all-in-one rig for a smartphone that has a light and a microphone, runs under 200. All right, Fictil's one-button studio is a great option if you're on campus a lot. Once you have decided the type of video you want to record, they have a 4K video camera, high-quality microphone, the ability to present with a drawing tablet, the green screen, which when you walk in there, it looks gray, but they reflect a green light on it. It actually turns into a green screen on camera. They have a clickers. You can present with a Mac that they have, or you can bring your own Mac and plug into an HDMI. So that's a great option as well. If you want to use your own presentation options besides just being on camera, programs like Canva, PowerPoint, Google Slides, are all great options. Embry will have a 30-minute tech tools next week about using Canva. So the benefits of Canva, it's user-friendly. The templates are very design-friendly. You don't have to design things yourself. PowerPoint, it's the most integrated in terms of Microsoft, and then Google Slides offers some real-time collaboration, and if you use the Google workspace, it's pretty handy as well. So video features of Microsoft Stream. I know a lot of you guys, if you've recorded your own videos, you've used everything from Screencastify, Screencast-O-Matic, Loom, QuickTime, Zoom, even Canva. If you've put your presentations on Canva, you can record on Canva. But the one I want to talk about today is Microsoft Stream. The reason is it is most like Canvas Studio, which I know a lot of you guys will have questions about. That's going to be our new LMS. So Canvas Studio integrates beautifully. And but in the meantime, the video features that Microsoft Stream has, and being that it's a free product, are really, really useful. Webcam recording, screen recording, both the screen and webcam at the same time. Lisa was saying that she was using Zoom for this. You can use it for screen as well, where you can take a little bubble or yourself where it's actually you're actually cut out and put at the bottom right or left of your presentation. Mobile recording, you can upload existing video. So if you're recording from just on your computer and then just want to upload it, you can do it that way. Live events, that would be great for hybrid courses. And then interactive features. I had some questions on this last week, I believe, about are there ways to put quizzes and polls and annotations in Microsoft Stream and Canvas Studio. And yes, both of those have that ability. So if you want to make your video more interactive, this is a great idea with Microsoft Stream. And so ask your instructional designer about this feature. We'll try to learn as much as we can about it. Sarah Oak is our instructional technologist, and she will test things for you and figure it out. And then analytics, so you can view your likes and comments and how many views, things like that, so you can see if students are really truly watching your videos. So here is an example of just a short little tutorial of how you would put a screen and webcam recording together using Microsoft Stream.
To start, I'll go to stream.office.com and select the recording button. From here, I can record myself or my screen or both at the same time. I'm going to record myself and my screen. This is a great option for making a how-to or demo video to transfer your knowledge to others. I'll set up my backdrop to a window that I want to share. For this example, I'll show you a sheet in Excel. Next, I'm going to add text and a sticker to liven up my video. Now I'll start the recording. Now we're filming, so here's where I would explain all the how-to information I want to convey about this Excel sheet. Once I'm done, I'll tap the record button. Then I'll save my video by tapping the next, then the finish button. This takes me to a new screen where I can add a title, a description, chapters, and transcript to my video. Now my video is ready to be shared.
Okay, so here's another tutorial written out. So again, you would just select new recording, allow your camera to use, allow Microsoft Stream to use your camera and microphone. Select the webcam, microphone, and screen share options, and then any effects you want to add. and then you just tap that circular button, capture button to record, and then stop. What's cool about that is the video. Let's see if I can skip.
To start, stream.office.com.
So let me show at the end if I can find it here. Yeah, what I love about this is that you can add chapters and set it up for captioning, and then you can actually trim your video. So if you started talking and you have what we call a bust, where you stop, where you have to say, okay, I messed up the very beginning, I'm going to start again, and then you can just count down 3, 2, 1, and then go back in there and trim up the beginning and trim off the end to get off of to get rid of those mistakes or what we call slop at the end, beginning and end of your videos. So that's really it. I'm kind of flew past my presentation, but hopefully we have a lot of questions. Did we get some questions, Lisa, in chat, or?
We don't have any yet, so if you want to drop questions in the chat, or feel free to unmute yourself, we've got plenty of time to answer all your burning questions. Is there a whiteboard in the One Button Studio?
Wouldn't call it a whiteboard. I think what it's called, and Cassie, maybe you can help me out, is it's kind of a digital, I would call it a digital whiteboard. Would that be accurate to call it that? The fact that it's like a presentation drawing tablet.
Yeah, it's more of like a tablet. It allows you to have something on the screen. I forget the exact name, and I probably could have said this if I hadn't been put on like to think of it right away. But I believe I don't remember, it's a tablet of some sort. And so basically, if you have something on the screen, for instance, like a math problem and you're trying to explain it, you can actually write, or if you have a diagram, you can there's a pen in there and you can circle things that you're trying to draw attention to. So I believe that there might be a video on our website that kind of shows some of that information.
Yeah, I just posted
so
the link to it.
Oh, great.
So if you want to use a whiteboard, or there's a light board, like in our studio at the 19th floor of Commonwealth. So if you're doing any kind of chalk and talk, those would be options, either the One Button Studio for presentation tablet, or our studio in Commonwealth. And there are ways, if you want to do it from home, there are ways to do it. Check with some of our IDs if you have those questions. And I love myself, if you want to email me at jason.hardin@eku.edu and you want to figure out how to do something like that from home, I would love to go over that with you, because there's some really cool ways to do that I've played around with. So if you kind of tell me what you have in terms of your technology, I can help you figure out how to use something like that from home.
So you mentioned the studio in Commonwealth. Could you tell us a little bit more about the options available there?
Yes. So Sarah and I have the ability, since Sarah's the instructional technologist, to record some videos in there. My office is actually right next door. It has a green screen. It has we have the ability to do a light board for the chalk and talk, like I said. We can even set up interviews. If you were in last week's session, Karina did a food class where she had people come in and actually cook food and do demonstrations. So there are a lot of options, and myself and Sarah would be good resources to ask for if there's anything that's a little bit out of the ordinary that you really can't do at home, or you really can't do with the One Button Studio, especially demonstrations and things like that. Or we have cameras where we can go out and shoot in the field. So for example, Sarah and Brooke, late this past year into the beginning of 2024, produced some training videos for for lab safety. So anything like that where you would need us to be on campus, we can actually come to your locations and record some training, especially things that have to do with hands-on activities like lab safety and things like that.
All right, I'm going to call Embry out because she mentioned you can use a tablet to mimic a whiteboard at home. You want to tell us a little bit more about that, Embry?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Good morning.
Good morning.
So just in the past, what I've done is I've used like a whiteboard app. Sorry, that's my cat. I've used a whiteboard app to connect to whatever I'm using to screen share. And there's a couple of different ways to do that depending on your tablet, but like I have an iPad, so I'm able to screen share directly to my computer or directly to Zoom or whatever it is. And so I'm in the frame and whatever is on the screen on my tablet is also in the frame. So if you have a tablet, if that's a resource you have available to you, you can make that work. If you are going to do that, what I would highly recommend is that you have some sort of writing device. iPencil is like my most preferred. It works much better, but I got through the entire 2020 school year using like a cheap little, I taught math, so I had to adapt quickly. I had to use my tablet to create a whiteboard situation. So I used literally like a cheap little stylus off of Amazon. It was like $15. So if you have that resource, like Jason said, and you want to reach out to somebody at the IDC, we can kind of walk you through setting that up. But that can be another really great way to actually have a whiteboard set up if you're teaching math or teaching something where you really need to be able to write and talk through problems, solve problems.
Right. And it's deadly simple if you've got an iPad and a Mac set up, because
Yep.
you can just screencast. Personally, I have an iPad and a PC, and so I had to use Lonely Screen to cast to my laptop. But I did that, and I also recorded videos using an app called Explain Everything. So I found that to be really helpful.
Yeah, and like Embry was saying, the tablet with the whiteboard app, you can actually do live Zoom calls. So if you're having a synchronous meeting where you're needing to go over some problems live, that's actually really useful as well.
All right. So Jason, in your opinion, to use the One Button Studio, do you need an orientation first to use it, or is it pretty self-explanatory?
Okay, I would say if you feel like your tech abilities, if you're not real confident, I would recommend an orientation. In fact, Embry, myself, some other IDs, we have met our instructor in Fictal, and if we're doing planning, we'll do some planning, and then before we record, we'll go in and actually say, hey, let's go through this and walk step by step. There's some visual aids and things like that in there, but honestly, I'm the type of person that likes to be hands-on and actually go through it and do it myself before the actual recording day. So I would recommend that.
I agree. I like to touch all the buttons first to make sure I can figure out how not to mess it up. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. We've got a few more minutes. Does anyone else have questions they'd like to ask? Vicki, do you want to tell us what kind of technology you have? Maybe we could talk you through the process. Okay, Vicki just has a Windows laptop. All right.
Yeah.
Or maybe you could connect with Jason or Embry or Sarah afterwards.
Yeah. And you know, the things that we talked about, the good news is with the Windows laptop, you can still connect to Microsoft Stream. You can still have whatever presentation product you like to use. And then your webcam would just be, you know, would work. So even if you don't have, you know, the perfect lighting and the perfect audio, you can try to use some of the tips I presented and just set up a nice cozy little place and make sure you're not too far from the internal microphone on your device, and you should be good. But yeah, if you need any more further help, I can just reach out. Yeah.
All right, we've got another question. Jim wants to know your opinion of making recordings using Blackboard Collaborative Ultra.
I have not used Blackboard Ultra to do recordings. Any other IDs? Embry, have you used it?
I haven't, but I think I understand what it is. I think it's very similar to like what we're in a Zoom call, basically what we're in now. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you can record it, then that might work. If it works similar to Zoom where you can like share your screen and you can kind of talk through things, then I think that that would be fine. I'm not sure about how you save the video to your computer. You know, at the IDC as well, what we're talking about a lot is making sure your videos are accessible. And that means that they have captioning. And so that is why we really like Microsoft Stream, is because when you have videos in Microsoft Stream, you can turn on that auto captioning, and that makes the video accessible. And it will be the same with Canvas Studio as well. It will have an auto captioning service. So I would just be mindful of like anytime you're recording using any kind of recording software, you know, is the video going to be able to be downloaded to your computer and saved? Are you going to be able to upload that video somewhere? And then are you going to be able to make that video accessible? So if you've used it, like you've used Zoom or you've used Collaborative to like record a session or record something, I think that's great. It's kind of just a matter of where you're going to store that video for the future and then making sure that video is accessible. But I haven't actually seen it. So
Yeah, and making sure it's accessible has been like the bane of our existence, because we have stored stuff in OneDrive and then the permissions seem to toggle on and off. And so that's why we've moved to Google and YouTube.
Right.
If you did want to demonstrate something, you know, you could do a screen record, you know, even on a laptop on you know, a Microsoft laptop. So, you know, there's a lot of services that we could, if you're interested in that, you know, you could demonstrate with your voice, you know, students could hear what you're demonstrating, and then you could edit that in very simply or drop that into a video where they actually see your face. So, you know, that's just basic editing. It's really not that difficult. And if anybody's interested in that, you know, I'm happy to do a workshop on basic editing on how you could do a screen record, but then also maybe an introduction to that week's assignments or whatever. But that might be an option if you don't have a tablet or something like that.
I'm going to talk a little bit about that in my tech tool next week when I talk about Canva. I mean, it's kind of just some basics of like splicing things together. So if you know, do like a headshot recording and then you want to do a presentation and layer yourself over top of that presentation, and then even layer in like a PDF document or a video or something else, Canva can help with some really minor editing like that, if that's something you're interested in. So I'll touch on that, but yeah, maybe Sarah in the future could do a little bit more. And then when we have Canvas Studio, for sure, talking through using that technology.
All right, we are about out of time. Are there any last minute questions? All right. The thank yous are starting to roll in, Jason, so I think you are relieved. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate your time this morning, and if we could be of service, please let us know. I've dropped Jason's email in there. You see the Pictal email, and I'm happy to connect you to Sarah or Embry or any of the other IDs in the Instructional Design Center for further assistance. Thank you all.
Be sure
If you're
to,
interested in
log
Canva
in.
next week.
I was saying
sorry,
the same
Cassie.
thing, Embry.
Okay.
Be sure to check out Embry's Canva Tech Talk next week, or Tech Tools next week, because it'll flow really nicely with the information that Sarah did, and then Jason. Be sure to register for that.
Yep, and I dropped the link into the chat.
Great.
All right, thank you all.
Bye.